Now, when we talk about prayer or meditation, to despook anybody who is here, what are we talking about? We are talking about a form of communication. Just like you can open your mouth and you can taste something, that is communication with the molecules of that food. You can open your ear and hear some 808s or some beats or somebody singing, that's communication with your ear. All right? You can smell the aroma of some savory soup that was cooking. That's communication with your olfactory system. All right? So you can have light penetrate your eyes and give you the ability to see visually. That's communication with a synthetic form of light or with the sun. So all of these are forms of communication. Sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch. Right? That's 5. There's another form of communication. And that involves you using what is the root of all of those things. Because you can close your eyes right now and imagine that you see somebody that you've seen before. And although your eyes are closed and you're in darkness, you can bring that image up in your head. You can close your ears. And if you heard a song before, you can play that whole song silently in your brain, just as if you're hearing it loud on a speaker. You can imagine the most savory taste that you've tasted before of something that you ate that you love, and you can remember the taste. How is your brain able to do that? That has everything to do with the anatomy and physiology of your brain. Your brain is impeccable. It can bring up memories that you haven't had in years. It can visualize things that you saw 10 years ago that you haven't seen, and you can bring that very image back up. It's memory, right? So because you can do all those things without even using the ear, you can still hear the music. The ear is the anatomical thing that is used to hear a sound. But once the sound is memorized, you can play the sound back in your head. Where are you playing that at? How are you playing that? And what does that have to do with this communication? Prayer and meditation are forms of communication. But in order to communicate, guess what? Guess what? Here's the kicker. Guess what? Here's the kicker. In order to communicate, you have to communicate with something real. The thing you communicate has to be real. You can't taste an imaginary food that you've never tasted before. You can't smell an imaginary smell that you never smelled before. You can't see something imaginary, right, that you don't have the creativity to make or you never seen before. It has to be real in order to communicate with it. From the smallest atoms and molecules to the largest trees or whatever it is, in order to interface with it, it has to be real. So your prayer and meditation are communication with who or what? Imagine trying to communicate with something that does not exist. Imagine it. Go try it. What will be the effect? We know when you communicate with food, you can eat it. It goes through a process of digestion. You get cellular respiration. You get energy. You can smell something and the aroma goes through your olfactory system, which can detect 440 different types of smells. You can see something with your eyes if you're not blind, and you can probably go touch it. You can hear something that plays that is a sound that is really vibrating. But imagine if somebody puts you in a position to try to communicate with something that don't exist. Welcome to the Twilight Zone. because a billion Muslims bow down and pray to something that does not exist every day. Christians, you do it too. Jewish people, you do it too. And all y'all new African spirituality people do it too. Y'all talking to ancestors that don't exist in the way that you believe them to exist. So what is it doing for you? Just like I can eat some food and it can give me energy. If you got a God that has power over the universe that created it, and you got a 6,000-year-old little child misbehaving on your planet, if your God cannot deal with that 6,000-year-old little child, then your God ain't real. Your ancestors ain't real. I don't care what you praying to or meditating to. It ain't real. Because it can't solve your problems. Voila. So the danger of praying to a mystery God is you are investing your money in the church, your billions of dollars into mosques all over the planet. You're investing your time. You're investing your attention, which is God. And you are getting crumbs. Take these crumbs, you peasant. That's what they're saying to you. The people in the inner circle of all of those, the reverends, the Pope, the sheikhs, the imam in Mecca and Damascus and all that, they say it to you, nigga, you dumb as hell. But I'm gonna take advantage of your stupidity. You're gonna make me wealthy. You're gonna give me status, all because you believe in something that don't exist, and you don't know that I know that it don't exist. We call those the 10%, the rich slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies, that the almighty true and living God is a spook in the sky and can't be seen by the physical eye, also known as bloodsuckers of the poor. Yes, I know my lessons and I can recite them, and I don't need no books. Who is the 10%? So what we're saying to you is the science of prayer and meditation is the ability to communicate. So the first people, well, who do you pray to? I ain't praying to no mystery God. So communication, this is important for you because I'm about to unlock where your power is, because you're in a prayer and meditation prison. You're in a prayer and meditation prison, and anybody trying to get you to pray to a mystery God is a slave master. I don't care where they are, who they say they follow. I don't care what they telling you. They're slave master. You got a lot of slave masters in Islam. You got a lot of slave masters in all aspects of Islam. You even got a slave masters in the places that was designed to free you. We about to go in. So look, the foundation of the teaching of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is that God is not a mystery. It's not some spook flying around in the sky. Ain't no spirit. He said the only spirit that you have is the air that you breathe. None of that is a God. He said the foundation of his teaching is who is the original man. And that includes you too, sister. Man in that context is a wide version of really the whole family. Who is the original man? We are gods. God simply means supreme being. There are other beings, but the supreme being on this earth is the human. On this earth. The supreme being on this earth is a human. So if you're going to pray and communicate to somebody or something, it's another being. The problem that you have is you lost the knowledge of self and you started participating in idol worship. The Supreme Being does not extract power from worshiping things that are less than itself. It's important. It does not extract any power from worshiping things that are less than itself, although it can communicate with some of those things. So prayer and meditation are forms of communication. Who are you going to communicate with? You're going to communicate first with yourself. The most important person in your life is you. If you cannot have internal communication with yourself, you have no self-control, no self-awareness, no self-honesty. These are all things you need to be a functional human being. So I'm talking about a billion dysfunctional human beings, a billion liars, a billion people who by default are liars because they are advocating that they are communicating with something that doesn't exist. And in reality, it doesn't exist. So the first communication you're going to make is with yourself. The second type of communication you're going to make is with other people. So prayer and meditation involves other people. This is the science that they want to lock you out of. They want to make you pray to this ghost in a box that don't exist. And you are wireless technology at its highest form. And you're supposed to be able to communicate with each other without picking up a damn phone. You're supposed to be able to tune in to the people around you for protection, for safety, for communication. You are literally wireless technology, the most advanced wireless technology walking around on this little orb that we're on. But you're not taught to practice that. You're taught to practice talking to something that don't exist. So all that time you've been talking to something that don't exist, you didn't get no responses. Imagine if you knew how to image a person that you know, and by imaging them in your mind, you send them a thought. And then they're on the same level and they could pick up that thought just like the cell phone works. You could put two cell phones, one in New York, one in California, and neither one are connected to wires, and you press send on a photo and that image sends from that phone 2,000 miles away with no wires. How is the image traveling? How is that photo traveling from one phone to another 2,000 miles apart? It's traveling on magnetic lines of force, radio waves, all the things, electromagnetic waves, whatever the terms that you want to use. It's literally traveling through the Earth's atmosphere to a receiver on the other line that has a digitized code that we call a phone number. And if you remember somebody's phone number, you can identify them and then you can send them messages through space. Your brain is actually designed to do the same exact thing, but way better. Way better. It was designed to send way more data. 84 billion brain cells, and you talking about how great a cell phone is? You got the new iPhone 12? Man, the iPhone 12 is a midget compared to your brain. But you're fascinated with the iPhone, and you're waiting on the next one to come out. Well, let me enlighten you. If you never practice using the brain in the way that I'm talking, you have not once in your life made a prayer or a meditation. Never. All these people talking about they're meditating and praying. If you can't talk to another being, you haven't reached there yet. We got to get practice. And you can talk to other beings. Now, we communicate through visual. You can look at a tree and you can see it's sick. That's a form of communication. You can smell some flowers. That's a form of communication. You can listen for what's going on in nature. Form of communication. But you can also speak to elements. And because you are the supreme being, You are supposed to be able to make nature move, but you have to know what nature is. Nature is not the environment. The environment can be destroyed. They got forest fires over now in California right now. That's not nature. Nature is the what's the word I want to use? It is the invincible elements that make up everything that you see. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, water. These are the elements that make up nature. That's why you can't destroy nature, because you can't destroy these elements. They can redesign themselves and become another tree at the direction of an intelligence. You could burn that whole forest down, and you can that's you destroying the environment. But you can't destroy nature, because those elements will reassemble themselves and make more trees grow, because they are programmed by the designer of the heavens and the earth. But what you were not made to realize is, and here's the big finale, that you are a direct descendant of the intelligence that formed everything that you see. And in fact, you are the personification of that intelligence, because the intent of the designer was to become you and me. This is our video game, and we are the players, and we have a character called Ali at this moment. So your prayer and your meditation is for beings that are living. They are for people, and they are for self. And unless you are praying and meditating like that, you are not doing anything. So with that being said, since we don't want to pray to the God in a box, the ghost in a box, the mystery God in a box, because that confines us away from our innate powers, it is also well known, as I stated in the last lecture, that when we do our prayer, let's say we're using the Qur'an or whatever, and we are talking about the prayer system, it had a direct system that was connected to the sun. So the other day we talked about Fajr and sunrise being the first meditation and prayer. Zuhr, when the sun is directly over our heads at noon, being the midday prayer meditation. And the prayers that we call Maghrib, Asra, and Isha all mean the same thing. They don't mean different things. And they are the sunset prayer. And then you have the Tahajjud, which is non-obligatory at midnight. And each of these has a significant function and is not talking to the mystery God. So the people who teach you prayer to stand up in Qiyam or Ruku, I'm going to stand up and give you these positions. So they tell you this in Islam. Stand in Qiyam. Sometimes people do it like this or like this. Qiyam, however you want to do it. I don't know what school of thought you're from. And they tell you to say something. Then you do Ruku, which is bowing. Then you go all the way down and you do Sajda, which is prostration. And in each one of those positions, these people tell you that you're supposed to just be saying words to the mystery God. Then you get up and you go home from Juma. Or you do that in your home. What? Are you kidding me? What did I just do? What would that do? Nothing. So if you are not a student of science, you don't know what that is for. Once you become aware of what prayer and meditation is as a communication, then you know that these positions are preparation for you to manifest what you're thinking and visualizing when you're in that state of communication. That's what it's for. And you have to be a master at anatomy and physiology to understand why you're even doing those positions. Why are you doing them? What is the purpose of them? So in our science, we're not doing their 5 prayers. We're not doing whatever we're doing the 3 prayers during the day and possibly the non-obligatory one at night. And so follow me on this. They tell you to face the east to a little black box called Mecca to pray. Don't they tell you that? But what they won't tell you is that the earliest temples and masjids were not facing the east. They were facing the sun when it rises and sets on the winter solstice. I got it in here. I got it in here. I'll read it for you, just for the record. All right, so let's go through this. I'm going to read some of this for you. I'm going to page 132. This is called The Sacred Direction in Islam. This is a book. See, these are the books they don't want you to read. They want you to read the hadith and a bunch of bullshit. But these types of books where people are doing scientific studies, they don't want you to read these because they uncover what white Arabs and other groups of people did to hide black history on this planet. So let me read it. Sacred Direction in Islam, a study of the interaction of religion and science in the Middle Ages, interdisciplinary science reviews. All right. And this is volume 10, page 319. So this is encyclopedia, 10 volumes on Islamic architecture. What the fuck are y'all talking about in there? How many volumes do you need to talk about a building? No, you're not talking about a building. You're talking about archaeoastronomy. That's what you're talking about. And what does he says? Some of the earliest mosques in Iraq were built facing the winter sunset. And this is the mihrab. The mihrab is direction that the imam faces when he is telling the people to face the Qibla. Because you believe, or were taught, that the Qibla is Mecca. It's not. I'm going to break down what the Qibla is. All right? Because Qibla is a word that you are mispronouncing. You know what the real origin or meaning of the word Qibla is? Because you got to go by the consonants. All right? Kaf, Ba, Lan, He. It's where the later esoteric people develop Kabbalah. Kabbalah is not an old Jewish science. It's a Middle Age science that they stole from the Moors. Kabbalah was Islamic and non-Jewish, or not Hebraic at all. I can prove that in no limited time. This is why Jewish people hate Islam, because it uncovers what they did. Get mad at me. All right. Some of the earliest mosques in Iraq were built facing the winter sunset. Only recently has it become known that astronomical alignments were used for the Qibla, so that some modern historians have mistakenly inferred from the orientations of early mosques in Egypt and Iraq that they were not built to face the Kaaba at all, but rather to face some other sacred site. Now, however, we even know why such astronomical alignments were used. So if you want to know what the Qibla was the sun. Literally. The Masjid al-Haram is not the sacred house that you're in Mecca. You don't know nothing about what this book is written. I'm going to prove it to you that even most of the early Muslims didn't know, because the authors kept that away from them. Matter of fact, I'm going to go there now, then come back. No, I'm going to read the rest of this. All right. Let's go. Let's keep going. So what's this guy's name? Cresswell. All right. This book is called The Qibla of Early Mosques, Jerusalem or Mecca. The difference of mosque orientations and corresponding winter sunrise and sunsets azimuths for the cities is small, except for Kufa, where the orientation of the mosque is closer to the older the newer Qibla. This shows that early mosques were astronomically oriented towards their corresponding winter sunrises and sunsets. Now, I told you, let me slow you down a little bit so you keep up. I just told you yesterday that Surah 53 verse 1 says that Ramadan is set according to the setting of a star. At that time, that's the sun is rising, Sirius is setting. All right? And we do that all the way through to the winter solstice. What these scientists are saying is, yeah, we know that, Ali, but we put this in rare books that y'all niggas ain't gonna never read because this is for the Masons and the initiates and other people who have access to those things, the books, to talk about. We're gonna keep y'all in the mosque playing to the mystery God, giving charity, doing whatever it is that you're doing as a slave. That's how this works. That's how this works. So let me go back, because I got to show you why we know so much about this Quran and these other folks don't. This is going to blow your mind. All right. Let me go to page 126. I'm going to jump around, and this is the book I told everybody to get. Go to governmentreparations.org and get this book, and you can help yourself understand some of these concepts if you want to. You don't have to. Yes, if you want to. All right, so look, check me out. Let me read something for you. Should I read that? I want to make sure I stay on point. Okay, let me go to. Where did I read this at? Okay. All right, so we're going to Surah 75. And the surah is called Al-Qiyam. All right? Qiyam means resurrection, or it also means to stand. And in these ayat, what is being discussed is Muhammad is being given an instruction. And the instruction he's been given is, don't try to interpret this Quran because that ain't your job. Ooh, that's going to hurt some people's feelings in Arabia and all over the earth. But you're going to have to deal with it. All right, so let me get to this. There's a lot of data in this material, and I put it together like this so you can really use it as an encyclopedia. All right, so here we go. This is, now ask yourself a question. Why would the authors put this in a surah about the resurrection? Because they're about to tell you that when the resurrection comes and somebody's telling you it's a resurrection, you're going to be confused because you didn't even have the knowledge, old world Muslims. This is ayat 16 through 19. Do not make spoken opinions in respect to it. This is the authors talking to Muhammad. Do not make spoken opinions in respect to it. It is Quran. To make haste in respect to it. Certainly on us is the responsibility of collecting it and its recitation. So when we recite it, follow our recitation. And surely on us rests the bayinna, explanation of it. So they saying, look, the explanation is on us, the correct collecting of it is on us, and the qara is on us. How you speak it. So now, when I'm here and I'm talking about the etymology of so-called Arabic going back to Nabatean, Punic, and other languages, and that the translations, all of them that you have are incorrect, we are telling you that the qara, the recitation, the collecting of it, the pronunciation of words, the meaning of the words, the etymology of the words, and the meaning of it is just coming out now. This nullifies from the Quran itself any level of tafsir or explanation you're getting from any hadith. That includes Bukhari, Dawood, all of them. It nullifies it. And who is the us? The us are called the exalted assembly. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us this. He said that there are groups of men who keep these histories, and at certain times they would reveal some of it to a prophet. Muhammad, Jesus, whoever it is. And the in-depth knowledge of it, none of them had. That would come when? At Qiyam, the resurrection. You thought the resurrection mean your ass had to be raised out of bones out of a grave. No, the resurrection is the world is asleep and your ass is about to wake up because the truth is going to be so impeccably clear that you are going to appear like you were dead and came back alive. So that's all the talk. Woke, conscious, knowledge of self. We're waking up. In every tradition on earth, indigenous people talked about this. Amongst the Dogon, they have it that the Nomos Anagano, right? They what? They were killed by Yurugu. And the Nomos Anagano are a group of ancestors who are in need of resurrection by Amma. I could go through every tradition, the Hopi, the Olmec, the Mayan, the Islamic, the West African traditions in Ma. I can go through, everybody was left a piece of this about people waking up. But who is going to explain this? It's on us. Us is the people who were the students of the people who were commissioned to bring this knowledge of self. And so we learned from the problem book that those 24 scientists, those elders, got together and one of them produced the son and sent him here to America to teach Elijah Muhammad. And once Elijah Muhammad got it, he cracked the circle by asking who is the original man and who is the colored man. White folks were like, whoa, wait a minute. We had these niggas enslaved and now they calling us the devil? Because now the devil is not some imaginary spirit under the ground about to stick your ass or some other type. No, the devil is the devolved races on the planet, the minority who are causing the goddamn problems on the planet. Now you got everything is becoming real. The original people are the gods. The mutant and the grafted people are the enemies and the devils. And now people are starting to be like, wait a minute, that's about right. That's about right. So now we're reading in this Quran that all these people say they love don't interpret this stuff. Meanwhile, 1 billion people are reading Hadith. See, the thing about it is, this is not a debate. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. Because this is about what you do, not what you talk about. I'm talking about it now, but I live this life, so manifestation is real. It's about what you manifest. You can stay in your masjids and pray for another 1 billion years and ain't shit gonna pop off. But you're gonna be a slave to somebody. But the people who get this message, they about to manifest. That's why the explanation is on us, the sons and daughters of Elijah. You're not going to get around that. Sorry, you're not getting around that. So let's go back to the point. The point of me reading that is to get back to this prayer and meditation, right? So now you following a Qibla, you facing east to pray to a box, a dead box with rocks in it. You say, oh, the black stone is over there. Do you know there was over 16 oracle centers with black stones throughout the Middle East, Arabia, and North Africa? The Kaaba is not the only temple with a black stone in it. You do realize that, don't you? Okay. All right. Well, if you don't realize that, I got all the data and I can kill you with it. So look, you praying to Mecca, right? Look at what your Quran says. Your Quran don't say pray to the east. What does it say? Surah 2, Ayat 115. And Allah's is the east and the west. So whichever way you turn is Allah's wajhu. I'm going to read that one more time. Surah 2, Ayat 115. And Allah's is the east and the west. The east and the west belong to Allah. Not just the east. So whichever way you turn in prayer is Allah's wajhu. Wajhu means face or person. So wherever you turn is Allah's face. Are you reading this? Muslims will swear down to their bottom that this book don't teach that we are gods. But wherever your face turns, that's where Allah's face is. Certainly Allah is ever present and knowing. So wajhu means face or person. And what it's saying is, it's the east or the west. So you facing the east to pray makes no sense. The Fajr prayer should follow the sun, which starts in the east. The Zuhr prayer, you should be facing north. The Maghrib prayer, you should be facing west. You should be literally like a compass during the day. And why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because of the purpose of what you're doing. And now I'm about to go into the science of it. We said yesterday that Fajr is for manifestation because the sun is manifesting. Zuhr is for the things that you need to envision and think about balancing because the sun is at a perfect balance, at azimuth. And Maghrib or Asra or Isa is for the things you want to get rid of in your life. And so at that time, you focus on it. And you are following the literal book, the only book that was written by the Creator. And that is the universe. Sun, moon, stars, planets. You are learning to read the first book, the Kitab, the book we use to write 25,000 years of history, which is a solar cycle. We were taught about the solar cycle. It's real in astronomy. It takes 25,000 years for the sun to go around this black hole that we're surrounding around. And you are attenuating yourself to that book, which is the book of nature. People talk about how you do nature and universal law, but they're not giving you specifics. I'm giving you specifics. So when you do those prayers at those times, Fajr, Zuhr, Maghrib, and if you do the non-obligatory Tahajjud, there's for specific things. Now, what is happening with these positions? I'm going to tell you what's happening with the positions. When you bow down, and the most important position in prayer is sajda, when you are in complete prostration, kind of like a baby, but you're on the floor with your head on the floor. You know what you're doing? You are stimulating the choroid plexus to cleanse and generate more cerebrospinal fluid. That fluid is in your third, fourth, and second ventricle in the brain, and it bathes the whole gray matter of your brain, and it goes down your spine to all of the nerve plexuses. It goes down the spine, and the nerve plexuses branch from it. What happens when you produce? What is the purpose of cerebrospinal fluid? It is to bring nutrients to the brain and the central nervous system. The purpose of these positions is to put your body in a state of electrical and magnetic state so that the will that you are visualizing is given more force. Then you get up and you go execute your plan. That's alchemy. That's magic. That's meditation. That's real prayer. The other shit you doing is bullshit. Do you hear me? It's bullshit. It will never get you anything. It won't. It won't. And the stuff that you think you're getting from it, you're only getting it by default because anything you give attention to, your brain, can possibly manifest, but you can magnify it so you get it at a higher level. And so what we're saying is these positions and doing these things when you don't know, it weakens you. It puts you in a box. These things, when you do know, can help you manifest your purpose, your vision, your reality. That is what you were not taught. The only thing that we are supposed to recite during the prayer is Al-Fatiha. And Al-Fatiha means what? The opening. Because you are literally opening yourself to manifest your will. That is the purpose of this prayer. So Fajr, sunrise, Zuhr at noon, Asra, Isa, and Maghrib are the same prayer at sunset. And each one of those, you are doing something. Fajr, manifestation, visualizing what you want to come about. Zuhr, what things that need balance in your life. Maghrib, what things that need to be gone. The Tahajjud at midnight, if you do it, is for total reception. You clear your space, you clear your mind. And the most important thing besides the visualizations and the movements, guess what? Guess what? Guess what the most important thing in these 3 times a day that you can do? breathe. Breathe. You're supposed to relax your body. We live in a hectic world where all kind of distractions and things and bills and people and road rage and all kind of things. Imagine just taking 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes to do relaxed breathing 3 times a day to calm yourself. You know what you're training your body to do? You're training your central nervous system, your autonomic nervous system, your whole body. You're training it how to move, stealth, calm, and execute your will. That's what you're doing. What happens when that frequency is resonating amongst a whole bunch of people? You know what you have? You have a nation of gods, a people who are self-aware, with a knowledge of self, who are honest with themselves, who have a tradition and practice of cooperation, communication, sharing. This is how easy this is. But it's a cultural dynamic. You can't do anything without culture. And so our culture is buried in all these indigenous traditions all across the globe. And then you got parasites who get a piece of it and they feed it back to you and put you in a religion or some type of whatever. Babalaw's charging you $5,000 to learn how to read 256 Odus. What is happening? You know what's happening? You being scammed. And you know what this lecture is right here? These are your freedom papers. This is your freedom papers. Imagine if 1 billion people, just take a moment and follow me now. Just imagine if besides those billion Muslims doing what they do right now, they were doing what I'm talking about. Imagine if you had 1 billion people or close to it doing what I'm talking about. Imagine if those billion people, instead of giving all their assets to Mosque on the Planet, invested in a treasury that we have to produce universities and great. Just imagine that, because you are listening to the highest level of wisdom of Islam on the planet as you listen to what we are saying right now. Sorry. You're not going to go nowhere on earth and hear what I'm saying. I don't care what sheikh you go to. I don't care who building you a talisman. I don't care what you're not going to hear it. So imagine if those resources, energy, that's all resources, were directed to things that actually help the people. We could educate our people for free. We can get them trades for free. Their family would have wealth. Nobody would be poor. Everybody could participate in their community with some skill, trade, purpose, and ability so that they can become functional members of the human family. That's how you solve a problem. You educate people into reality. You empower them not to be your servant. Nobody has to come to my masjid because I don't have one. You don't have to come to my church. I don't have one. You don't have to come to my temple. I don't have one. You can sit and listen to me for 45 minutes and get more knowledge than you have your whole life. And then you can go live. Did I ask you for a donation to do this lecture? No, it's free. I just gave you the ability to start a study to free yourself forever from imprisonment for free. It's free. So all I'm saying to you is look at the video, study it, get some of the books I mentioned, go to those ayat and see if they say what they say. Then think about it. You've been living this way, doing all these rakahs and prayers, all this stuff, and what has it done? Then try something new. I promise you, the 10%ers, rich slave makers of the poor, are not going to send you to a hell that doesn't exist. You're already in hell. And you're in the hell that they made for you, suffering because you don't have al-haq, the truth. I promise you, you're not going to go to no mystery hell by listening and studying for, with a free mind. It's not going to happen. So what we're saying is, make your prayer and meditation meaningful. You can't pray to a mystery God that doesn't exist because you're not going to get nothing from it. So you need to understand what self is, who self is, and how to communicate with other people on all types of levels. We have all this technology in this body right now. Each cell, which you have over 100 trillion cells, are carrying out over 1 billion operations. That means you have over a quadrillion level of operations going on, and somewhere in your body you have the potential to do that all at the same time, and you don't see how great you are. How could you carry out a quadrillions of functions simultaneously and not be a god? Somebody fooled you. They didn't tell you who you were, and they want you to be something that you're not, because by being what you're not, they benefit from you. And you know what that is? That's called a parasite. That's called a pathogen. Anybody teaching you a mystery God is a parasite. Anybody. I don't care if they in Chicago in a palace and you feel like they've done good for humanity. If they start teaching you a mystery God, they're either directly or indirectly enslaving you. I don't care who they are. And I'm the one that they want to kill for telling you the truth. And I'm telling you now, it's people who want to kill me because of what I say. They don't like it. You don't see the signs because you don't live my life. But I see all the signs. I see how they attack me financially. One of the websites, all of a sudden Square says, oh, we can no longer support your services. Little shit. It just happens all out of the blue. But I know what it is. It's not out of the blue. It's slated attacks to try to attack somebody who is freeing people. They've been doing this to me for over a decade, and I don't care because you can't stop me from doing this. You haven't stopped me yet, and you can't stop me. All the informants who used to follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, yes, you're informants. You are informants. We know you're informants, and you're afraid to death because you know the shit is about to come out. I don't care, bro. The people are way more important than these parasites. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. You see the comments? You see the comments. You see the comments, right? It's always that element in the comments. But guess what? You don't matter. Because why are you watching me if you're not here to learn? So all I'm gonna say is study this video. I hope it helped you out. It's jewels in it. Get the material. Bow. Get the material. Governmentreparations.org. Get the material. It comes in ebook and in the form of hard copy, so you can continue your studies. Keep eating your nutritious foods. The fast and the abstaining from food becomes easy. And here's the thing. In life, man, you need discipline. So if you can abstain from something that's natural for you, right? Food, it's natural. Then the unnatural shit, you can abstain from easily. You won't be tempted by nothing that's out of line with that which is natural and best for you. You won't be tempted by this shit. These people won't be able to come to you with money and offers of power and women and whatever they come in. They're always offering somebody something to, turn coat. None of that will mean anything to you. A healthy mind is not interested in that. We're not interested. We don't care. You can't buy us. You can't do nothing. All right. There's no compromise. So hopefully y'all have enjoyed this and you got something from it. I'm going to save these videos on all the platforms and y'all can resume having y'all wonderful night. We stayed under an hour. I like